Heya Cryptozens. Tonight's show, Weekend Roundup. These are all brand new stories that I didn't report on earlier in the week. We got stories on Norway, Celsius, Linux, Coinbase, and the Department of Justice. It's 10 p.m. Pacific time. The date is September 17th, 2022. Welcome back to the Crypto Overnighter. My name is Nick, and I'll be your host. The cover model, mascot, and co-host for this podcast is Tex. And together, we take a nightly look at the crypto, NFT, and metaverse space and the industry that surrounds it. If you have questions or comments about the show, please come find us on Twitter or email us at nick@cryptoovernighter.com. And keep in mind, nothing in this show should ever be considered financial advice. Monday. Norway's central bank announced a major milestone. They released the open source code for their central bank digital currency sandbox. The sandbox is set up to give developers a safe place to play with things like minting tokens and burning and transferring them. You heard me right. I said tokens. You don't usually think of tokens when you're talking about CDBCs, but in this case, the interface on their sandbox is designed to allow the transfer of ERC20 tokens. NAMI is partnering up with Norway on this project. They put up a blog post. In that post, they said that their current version of the code doesn't support MetaMask by design. Right now, it's only available to customers that are appropriately credentialed. They've set their sandbox up with the usual tools, smart contracts, access tools. In addition to that, they've added a custom interface and network monitoring tools. You also get a filterable summary of transactions on the network. So remember that bit about ERC20 tokens and how NAMI is very careful to point out that it's not set up to support MetaMask, which is a crazy popular Ethereum wallet. Well, there's a reason for that. On Friday, the central bank tweeted out that their CBDC prototype was based on Ethereum, and that matches up with the blog post from last May. Norway's bank said that the Ethereum system is there to act as a core infrastructure for issuing, destroying, and distributing their CBDC. It's also referred to as DSP. And the bank said, quote, "The prototype will be used to test a number of important features for DSP." In November of last year, Norway Bank issued a working paper, and this paper was talking about different CBDC designs. Some of those were designed based on blockchains like Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Bitcoin SV. Wisely, they said interoperability was one of the most important problems that they were taking into consideration. Now, recently, the IMF put out a report. In this report, they indicate that 97 countries were working on CBDCs. That's more than half of the global banks on the planet. I do not consider that to be a good thing. Tuesday. How forgiving are you? Are you the kind of person to hold a grudge after a bad experience, or are you pretty forgiving? What if you loaned a friend some money, and now the idea was that he was going to borrow this money now, and then he'd pay you back with interest? And maybe you're not all that keen on this idea, but he insists that it's a sure thing. And then he appeals to your greed, and he offers a high rate of return. So you figure, okay, Alex, your friend's name is Alex. You figure, okay, Alex, I'm down. You pass over your hard-earned cash. Then Alex comes to you later and says, hey, friend, I don't have your money. You say, wait, how can you not have my money? So Alex says, well, I figured I could reinvest it and make both of us some money. So you say to Alex, well, you should have told me. You should have said that you were going to reinvest it. Now, Alex, his response, nah, it was in the terms and conditions. Besides, once you gave me the money, it became my money. Basically, you just gave me a loan. So you'd be mad, right? Okay, now, let's say all that happened. And now your friend Alex, he calls you up. And you're still mad. Well, Alex has a new friend, Kelvin. And Alex and Kelvin, they want to store your crypto for you. Not as an investment, not as a loan. They're just going to hold on to your crypto for you and keep it safe. Does that sound like a good idea? Hell no, it doesn't. The last time you handed your buddy Alex money, he said, "My money now," and then he promptly lost it. I mean, he knows he owes you money, but he's working on other things first. You know, the first thing that he's going to do when he gets more money is he's going to go and he's going to invest it. And if recent history is any indicator, he's going to invest it and then he's going to lose it. As some of you have guessed by now, Alex in this case is a stand-in for Celsius. And Kelvin, in this case, is a code name for Celsius's new plan. Alex Mashinsky announced it in a September 8th meeting. So Alex and Oren Blonstein were talking about using a project named Kelvin to help breathe some life into this dying company. And so this announcement on September 8th at a meeting where they talked about different scenarios for the future of Celsius. Right now, Celsius's business model doesn't include fees for transactions or withdrawals or early termination. Now, it sounds like under this Project Kelvin thing, that would change. Blonstein said, quote, "If the foundation of our business is custody and our customers are electing to do things like stake somewhere or swap one asset for the other or take a loan out against an asset as collateral, we should have the ability to charge a commission." Honestly, I'm stunned at the audacity on a couple of different levels. Because the day before Mashinsky made this pitch, Vermont's Department of Financial Regulation said that Mashinsky lied to them about the company's financial health and its compliance with security laws. That's what the DFR said. So in addition to losing a bunch of people's money, apparently they misled regulators. But the most galling of this is what I said earlier. When Celsius was a lending platform, they told their investors any money deposited on Celsius was effectively an unsecured loan that they made to Celsius. With that attitude, I would never trust them to hold anything ever again. Wednesday. The Linux Foundation is a global nonprofit. Kind of like the Bitcoin Foundation or the Ethereum Foundation, the Linux Foundation is there to kind of guide things, to get consensus about which way to go with future development. And so they are launching something called the Open Wallet Foundation. See, the Linux Foundation's goal is to enable innovation in the blockchain ecosystem using open source technology. So, the Open Wallet Foundation, or OWF, is there to work in a public-private partnership with the tech sector as well as stakeholders in the blockchain world. Their goal is not to make a wallet. Now, in this case, they want to create software that will support interoperability between wallets. They want to build a multi-purpose open source engine. That way, anybody can use this tool to create safe, secure, and private-focused wallets that play well with others. They're also taking on the task of establishing best practices for digital wallet tech. Jim Zemlin is the executive director of the Linux Foundation. He wrote, quote, "We are convinced that digital wallets will play a critical role for digital societies. Open software is the key to interoperability and security. We are delighted to host the Open Wallet Foundation and excited for its potential." David Treat is also a member of the foundation. He said, "Universal digital wallet infrastructure will create the ability to carry tokenized identity, money, and objects from place to place in the digital world. Massive business model changes coming, and the winning digital business will be the one that earns the trust to directly access the real data in our wallets and create much better digital experiences." Supporting this effort is an interesting list. Now, some that you would expect from like the open source and the identity management worlds. The Open Identity Exchange and the Open ID Foundation are two of them. But you also have like CVS Health, which is an interesting layer. Why would CVS Health be interested in helping people secure their self-sovereign currency? Thursday. For my listeners outside the U.S., we are deep in the middle of our midterm election cycle. And while we're not choosing who will lead our nation from the Oval Office, midterm elections are important. Because while they don't have the glitz and the glam of a presidential contest, the midterms don't get quite that publicity, which means it can be difficult to find out where a candidate stands. Sometimes I get campaign material sent to me. I can't find their party. I can't find their platform. I can't find the list of things they believe in. I can find the link to make a donation, though. Now, I'm not a party voter. I'm an issue voter. So I get annoyed when I can't find a candidate's position on something I care about. Case in point, crypto. The future of cryptocurrency is important to me. And since you're listening to me ramble on, I assume it's important to you too. Coinbase is here to help. CEO and founder Brian Armstrong announced it on his Twitter account. He told his 1 million followers that he was building something into their app. According to him, that means that the app's users will be able to find out where their local candidates, leaders, and representatives stand where crypto is concerned. He said, quote, "Starting today, Coinbase will begin integrating our crypto policy efforts right into our app. This will help our 103 million verified users get educated on the crypto positions held by political leaders where they live." So, Coinbase is going to rely on data from the Crypto Action Network. They are a nonprofit dedicated to promoting crypto. And it's going to be just like school. Coinbase will use the Crypto Action Network's scorecards to rate each member of Congress. Based on their public statements and their official actions, they will get a grade from A to F. This means that users will be able to see where their members of Congress stand, as well as get registered to vote and find out where their local town hall meetings are. Now, I don't know if this is in their plan, but it would make sense to me that they have some sort of a mechanism to make it easy to donate to select candidates right from the app, even if that's just a link to their donation page. Interestingly, this comes on the heel of comments from Chief Policy Officer Faryar Shirzad. Less than a month ago, he tweeted out, quote, "The leaders we elect this November will be the ones making critical decisions about the future of crypto, blockchain, and Web3, and about your economic freedom." Now, I'm going to close out with words from Brian Armstrong. He said, quote, "Crypto advocacy is very important for our mission of increasing economic freedom in the world, and Coinbase will do its part to help. But the crypto community is much bigger than Coinbase. Hopefully, we can all rally to engage elected leaders and drive sensible policies." Friday. In a day of reports, the U.S. Department of Justice published its latest response to President Biden's executive order. Parallel to that, they announced the formation of a Digital Asset Coordinator Network, or DAC, quote, "in furtherance of the department's efforts to combat the growing threat posed by the illicit use of digital assets to the American public." So this report is called "The Role of Law Enforcement in Detecting, Investigating, and Prosecuting Criminal Activity Related to Digital Assets." This is a companion to the report that they released last June on international law enforcement cooperation. And so they took a look at a number of areas in digital asset crime. They paid special attention to NFTs and DeFi. And then they take a look at the federal departments and agencies and how well they've been able to combat digital asset crime. It also makes a number of recommendations on how to enhance law enforcement's efforts. One thing is to extend the anti-tip-off provisions. They do that by broadening the definition of the term financial institution and then amend the criminal code. They would take the section on unlicensed money transmitting and extend the statute of limitations for some offenses. They'd also take a look at evidence, which might not be a thing that most people think about, but even in digital crimes, there is evidence. So they suggest changing on how evidence is preserved, as well as making changes to the various laws, including the Bank Secrecy Act. And, of course, money. The DoJ suggests giving the DoJ more money. Now, the Digital Asset Coordinator Network has met once already. Their first meeting was September 8th, and we just talked about this yesterday. But there's a group of 150 prosecutors from the U.S. attorney's offices. They're expected to be the department's primary forum for providing guidance on investigating and prosecuting digital crimes. DAC members become the office's subject matter experts on the subject of digital assets, or at least they're supposed to be once they've gotten special training to serve in that role. And that's going to do it for us on our weekend roundup this Saturday night. I want to thank you, my listeners, because when you stop listening, I will stop talking. Take care of yourselves, but take care of each other too. We'll see you tomorrow night.